Do you do anything else? Do you like to write? I see you have a writing credit on there. Do you like to?
Yeah, so it's so funny because so we have meetings every Monday for the YouTube stuff. So I'll like we'll sit and have like a little writing session and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then I have a film that I want to write, and I keep writing it in my head, but I'm not putting it down for some reason. But I already have like the opening. I have like what I want to happen in the middle. So I do want to start writing that.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
I know you're a busy guy, so
I'm trying to figure out how people do that. I mean, like I'm so impressed when people can write a whole film because like writing each scene. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. How did you get started?
it's been quite a few years now, but I got to the point where I just wanted to put the reason was so I could put myself into a film. I wasn't booking much, so I was
Hey,
like,
look at Taylor Sheridan right now.
My
Yeah.
gosh, he's everywhere.
yeah,
He's
he
everywhere
was-
It's
because
insane.
he produces it all.
yeah,
Yeah,
Dude.
it's literally like one after another after another. It's so crazy.
But yeah, I mean, he's an actor
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't.
He was on God, what was his Sons of Anarchy?
I think so. Yes, that sounds
And I
familiar.
think he was like 16th. This is the story I read. So he was like 16th on the call sheet, right? And
Yeah.
everybody started getting raises when the show started doing better. And so his agent went in and said, "Hey, like he'd like to get paid this amount." And they're like, "No." They're like, "He's 16th on the call sheet, and you know
Mm-hmm.
he should be glad he's here."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And after that, he decided like he was going to write his own stuff and produce it,
Yeah.
and
That was the motivation
Yeah,
yeah,
to do that, which is
it's insane. And
Which
his
is-
shows are like,
yeah. So that was his path that he needed to.
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, no, I just started doing it and reading about it and just trying to learn. And it's my favorite thing to do.
mm-hmm.
Now, when you write, do you lay everything out on like a big board of like what happens when, or you just write?
I'm getting better at that because I know there's a couple ways of thinking, and most people are like, they usually outline everything. And but when I first started, I definitely didn't do that way. I'm like, no, I just want to learn as I go. I want to enjoy the journey and the exploration. But and a lot of writers do write that way still, but it's just, it forces you to do more rewrites and more harder changes
because
and
if
moving
this
stuff.
happened, like I
Yeah.
worked with a production company like it was like 15 years ago, and we were looking to buy scripts, and like we had to do a bunch of rewrites, and you're right, it's like I didn't write the original, but we would be like, well, let's change this character to do this in this scene, and then you'd be like, well, wait, because then scene like it would change like 3 scenes
Mm-hmm.
later on, and then you would change those, and then it would change it for another character, and it's like
Right.
it's enough to drive you insane sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm getting better at trying to outline, because then you could it's almost like a chessboard. You move everything around, figure out the scenes. Just a little blurb. Hey, this character does this. Hey, this character, gets shot here, or this character's head, if you're doing a horror movie, something like that. And
Right.
then I can go in and write the dialogue, and then it just makes for less passes. And if you want to do it professionally, that's what you're going to be asked to do anyway. You're going to be writing treatments and outlines and stuff. So I'm trying to get up to that where I'm more structured, because I was like, oh, I don't want structure. I'm creative. It's like, who wants structure? I want to write and just write. But that's, I've realized now it doesn't stymie any of your creativity. It's just a better.
It probably kind of puts it in order for you, so you
Yeah.
can kind of get creative in each scene.
Yeah. The creative's there. It's like, okay, I just have to do the work first, and then I can get creative on how the scene goes, and the dialogue is and all that stuff. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've always had so much respect for writers because, I mean, even when I look at a script, I'm like, how did you come up with like all this stuff for like 5 different characters talking in the scene, and I mean, it's insane.
multiple episodes.
Yeah, that starts getting, when you're adding more characters, it's just like you got to keep track of it all and make sure that the characters don't sound the same. They all sound different, have different viewpoints.
Right, you have
and
to give them each their own voice and
their own voice. So it becomes exponentially harder the more people you start putting in
Right.
in your film and in the scene itself. So
Maybe that'll be my motivation this year. I'm going to start
there you go, 2025, starting out early.
start
Yeah.
trying to write what's in my head. But it's so funny because I'll wake up dreaming about it, and I'll go through like whole scenes, like the whole opening scene. I know I already have like the whole middle scene of like the switch from, the setup of the story to the action I already have. So it's interesting because I just need to get it out of my head.
Yeah, you need to get it down.
Yeah, just
Because
start
that's the other
writing.
thing too, is like those things pop in when we were just talking to somebody else, and it's like they just pop in, and you're like, I got to get it out because it's just going to keep doing that. It's not going away
Well, it's like when I
because
wrote,
you got to get it out.
when I wrote, when I was doing stand up in college, it was so, it would never fail. 3:00 in the morning, 4:00 in the morning, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. And you like, I had a notebook by my bed, and I would write it down, right? And that's usually where the best stuff came from, was like in the middle of the night when you aren't even trying to think of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst mistake I would ever make is sometimes I would be so tired that I'd be like, all right, this happens, and then that's the punchline, and then this, and then the punchline. I got it. I'll remember in the morning. I'd go back to bed,
And you
and
forget.
I'd wake up, and I'd go,
Oh,
Uh,
no.
Yeah, it goes away and it never comes back. You're like,
Yeah.
dang it.
Right.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because that's how I really started. I started because I was taking SAC Comedy Lab
Right,
stuff.
right. Yeah, I've been there.
And then I was just like, oh, what if I tried some stand up? So that's where I actually really started. I wrote jokes first,
Yeah.
and wrote characters because SAC always wanted to make you to make up characters
Right.
that you could use in your pocket and pull out. So it was
So
right.
I've done the first 3 classes in SAC, and the fourth class always lands on a Tuesday night. And like Tuesdays are when I have all my meetings in Clearwater, and I can't even if I do get away in time,
Yeah, it's no way you're gonna make
it'll
it.
be like a very long day. So I'm like, I haven't taken the 4th class yet.
Yeah, you will. I have
get
faith
there.
that you will.
I will.
I enjoyed all those classes. So much fun.
Did you ever perform live with them?
I did. Well, their fourth one is you do the live show.
Right.
So I did the live show
Okay.
with them, which was super fun, and it was a packed audience. They, everybody brought their
Right,
friends and family. So nerve wracking, but it was fun. Obviously, it's like it's theater, so it's.
Right.
I also did a class with Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall.
Okay.
He did a class there, a weekend class where they did their process, how they did their process. They kind of riffed and improved, and that's how they came up with their scenes that they were going to do for Kids in the Hall. So we did that process, and then we broke off into groups, did the scenes, came up with the scenes, practiced them a little bit, and then did them for a live show the next day. So
Oh,
that was
cool.
that was super fun too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but I would always love to have, been one of their ensemble casts because they look like they're always just having so much fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a great thing to have as you've done the improv.
I think improv in general, like leads to better acting. Anything that can free you up a little bit more, or anything that can make it so like if you're in a scene like that's funny, if you can add to it, if they allow you to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, it definitely improves your acting. It improved my acting a lot.
And it's funny because I heard Vince Vaughn, like the people I was talking to from Bad Monkey were like, a lot of times he would say like, hey, cool, we got that one. Now let's just improv.
I've noticed.
Like, let's just do that scene again. And because I would think in his process, that probably keeps him loose.
Yeah.
Helps him be a little more,
Relaxed, probably too.
Yeah.